Hey, listen, sometimes we get to a point where we think we know all the answers, that we forget how to communicate with the person that's in our life. Sometimes communication ain't about being right. It ain't really no right answers when you trying to have something that work. Y'all working towards a goal. Y'all working towards bettering each other's life. A lot of us, we always try to control a person. We try to control what they wear. We try to control what they do. We try to control their time on this earth. But I don't feel like that's real love. When I was younger, ain't nobody ever teach me how to love. So when I fell in love, it was different. I started getting these controlling feelings inside of me. I thought that I had to have control just to feel loved. I thought that I had to be around her just to have her. Sometimes you lose yourself dating a person too soon, because you don't know who you are. Sometimes we still finding out who we are, and it's slow, because we don't know what to do. We figuring everything out. Sometimes we try to love somebody else too much when we don't love ourselves, and it makes us grow into a point of needing them instead of wanting them. You know what I'm saying? You start needing somebody, and you start needing them to live. You start needing them to survive. Your whole life stop being about you, and your life start to form and be about them. You start wanting to control them, and you start not even understanding that you hurting them in a sense. You pulling them away from you, and one day you're going to look up and say, how did I lose them? Because you need to look in the mirror and realize you changed. When you first came into this, there was no control. You was actually cool with it. Y'all was filling each other out. Y'all was getting to know each other. But somewhere down the line, you feel too much. You know? Your love started to come with control. It started coming with things that made you not recognize yourself. And sometimes we got to pull back. We got to pull back and understand that if we don't stop, we can lose everything. Sometimes we be having the love of our life right beside us, but we don't know how to love them correctly. You know? You're not supposed to control somebody's journey. You're just supposed to follow them through it. If you really love somebody, it ain't about what they can do for you. It ain't about what they doing. You gotta understand that person got goals and things that they wanted to do before they even met you. And if they stop that inside themselves, somewhere inside themselves, they stop loving them. And how can you ask them to love you if you're not asking them to love themselves? Sometimes we want to control people without understanding them. We won't sit down and communicate with them because we think we know all the answers. A lot of times people had a whole life before they met you. And I know sometimes you think you know them and you know their every movement because you've been around them for a long time. But you know their habits. You got to communicate to get to know that person. You know how they act and you know how they respond based off of things that you think you know. But that person got stories. Sometimes we meet people and the first thing we want to do is get inside them, without knowing who they are as a person. Sometimes we skip over people that can be our soulmates because we still chasing a life where we don't know who we are. We still just going with the flow. A lot of us being hurt and ain't never healed from that hurt. So we just been hurting everybody else. And we don't even recognize it. But we go out here and we say we're not going to take nothing serious. We're not going to take nobody serious. But we don't stop dealing with people. And we don't even understand that the people that we deal with, they probably really like us. They probably really want us. But because we've been through so much hurt, we don't know how to love them correctly. We don't even know how to accept them. So if you got somebody beside you, communicate. Don't communicate for you. Communicate for them. Communicate to understand and just hear them. Sometimes people just want to tell you their story. Sometimes people just want to hear that you still love them, that you still think they attractive, that you still think that they a prize, you know? Sometimes we get used to people and we stop really loving them. We start thinking that they're going to always be there no matter what. But we don't understand a relationship is like a job, you know? You got to check in every day or somebody going to check out. Sometimes we get into our own life so much that we forget that we ask somebody to be a part of our life. And when you ask somebody to be a part of your life, some things got to come to a stop in your life, you know? So things can scribe. But I'm in it right there.